You can get a duplex using that first-time home buyers program. One challenge for the next meeting is to identify 5 potential properties for a duplex purchase.
Yeah, that's exciting.
What do you guys think about talking to another family about your finances?
The last time we talked, we had a challenge for you guys. Tell me a little bit about how that went.
So we actually did go and visit a couple houses, and it was like power lines everywhere. And it sounds like a swarm of massive hornets or something. Middle class, like 2-bedroom, 2-bath, whatever, close to $1 million.
Yeah.
It went from, I feel like, being super excited to like a little deflated.
It did help us to reevaluate where we are financially. Even though we were, going on the sites to take a look at the home, especially the duplex, we just couldn't find a place that we thought was safe, not just for us, for our family, but just the property itself. Everything seemed to be in bad shape. And what they were asking for was just way too high.
While I'd love to say we're ready, we know that we just began saving. And so it kind of makes sense. Like, gosh, what if we did find the dream home? We would have to maybe hustle to make it work. And so maybe we're just not there yet, and that's okay.
Just with me alone, we can cover everything, all our expenses, and we're 100% taken care of. Getting into a house, it's a big jump, for one person to take on. But yeah, if anything, I thought, doing this, it really helped us reevaluate ourselves and, what we need to do to be able to get to that.
And give us a good picture of where we want to be.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome assignment, to be quite honest,
Yes.
I'm actually glad that you guys were able to not only complete the assignment, but take the entire picture and say, hey, okay, this allows us to really see where we are on our journey. The housing market right now, it's a seller's market. There isn't a lot of supply. And I can imagine with the California market, that's even a shorter squeeze because of the cost of living, right?
The one thing that we didn't do was we didn't look up any programs that we would qualify as a first-time buyer. And the reason why we didn't do that was because we thought that maybe we needed to reevaluate our income to see whether that's even possible. Because, at this point, I guess we really don't know exactly how much of a financial help do these programs cover. So I think that you still have to make a certain level of income to be able to qualify for some of these programs, correct?
Some are income restricted, some are not. I would have closed the door on looking at those programs. You guys, after doing the assignment, you at least can say, hey, based off the properties that we've seen price-wise, we probably need to be at a certain level to where that decision may make sense. Honestly, with the California market, maybe the best option is to continue to rent.
And maybe the market's going to correct and the houses will drop back down and, right in time, who knows? But the average home price is $719,000 and this one is $949,000. It's 25% above what the current market is out there.
This is not an affordable market for most people. So it's not time.
Now you can start to really focus on those other goals of building that emergency savings account and keeping that debt to income ratio low so that when you are ready to make that move, you already have all of your ducks in a row.
At least for me, I can definitely say that I have invested so much into the market that yes, I basically have depleted, quite a bit of my emergency funds because I wanted to get into the market and, start investing right now that the market's low in certain companies. So I just basically jumped the gun on it. And then I depleted quite of my savings because of that.
It's all a process, right? So you're going to have times where, hey, you may have to use some of that emergency savings account and build it back up. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Continue to build the good habits that you're already starting to incorporate, practice those good financial principles. And I think, sky's the limit for you guys.
I'm just super optimistic. I think, the market will regulate itself and a lot of people like Cheyenne and I will have the opportunity to get into a really good home.
I have identified a family that you guys will talk about finances with. So for the next challenge, we're going to pair you with that family and you guys will have some discussions on finances, some of the things that you're learning, some of the things that you're going through, and then you'll be able to hear similar stories and similar viewpoints from the other family as well. So what do you guys think about that?
I think it sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Because,
absolutely.
maybe there's something we don't know that we could learn from her,
Exactly.
we're also identifying. So you're like, oh, it's not just us. Yeah, I'd like to know where other people are at because it does makes you feel not so alone,
Yeah, there you go.
Well, yeah, think of it as financial therapy.
Hi,
Hello. Hi there.
Nice.
I'm Hazel.
Bruce.
Marco,
I'm Cheyenne.
Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
we live in California. Where are you guys at?
We're in New
New
York.
York City. We're in the Bronx.
All right on. Okay.
New York.
Yes.
So, we live in the Bronx. We have 3 kids, all teenagers. I work as a bilingual school social worker.
And I'm a real estate agent and I DJ.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
that's cool.
Still putting it down, man.
Yeah, man, I have to. I love it. That's my serenity. That's
Yeah.
my escape.
So we have 2 little boys.
2 little ones, 3 and 8, and Marco works in the industry in post.
So have you guys been investing? Because that's kind of, with us experiencing COVID, I got hit with COVID in February with the time that I actually had at home, because basically I had to lock myself in one of the kids' room so that I wouldn't get everybody sick. I just started learning about how to invest. I started just watching a bunch of videos, read a bunch of stuff online because I didn't know how it works. I had no idea how much money you needed to get you going, to open an account, and what was the best company to go to. There's so many, right?
It's funny because my youngest recently got into, I forget if it's called Money Watch or Market Watch. I can't remember what it's called, but she's doing this game online where she's playing with the market. Her teacher actually got her started with it, started them off for like $50,000 in that game. She's over $1 million right now. Like, she's doing really well learning about the market and figuring out how to maneuver
That's
it.
cool.
So I'm excited for her when she's old enough to start investing, to use what she's learning from this particular game to then apply it, because she's leaps and bounds ahead of what I learned. I didn't learn any of this growing up. I
Right.
joked
Right.
earlier with him because he was saying that talking about money at his house was like taboo. I was like, well, that's funny. We didn't have any money, so we didn't talk about it at all. There's nothing to talk about. So,
It sounds like my family.
so I'm really excited to be able to apply, what we're learning and what we've learned to the kids, so that they can have a better opportunity and start
Totally.
a lot younger.
And like we were saying, right? You said it's not talked about, so you don't know. But here she's starting out younger, and that knowledge is it's just like college to some degree, right? Your parents go to college.
Yeah.
The kids kind of feel like, that's just what I do. I go to college. You talk about the market or how to invest. It's just like, that's something we do, right? And it's
Absolutely.
that leaps and bounds ahead of, I think, how we were raised. And I think things have changed as far as what you talk about too, right? Like sometimes I think we talk about
Absolutely.
stocks and stuff too much in front of our 8-year-old. He's like, are you looking at AMC again or Tesla? And I'm like, oh man. Too young, he shouldn't know about that.
I was just telling a friend of mine yesterday, it's like we quickly talk about, are you having that talk? We're talking about the birds and the bees, but no one's ever saying anything about talking about dough and debt. Like, those are things that should be considered a conversation that you have with your kids as well, because when you say to them, what are you going to do when you grow up? Okay, you're going to go to college, you're going to become a doctor. Fantastic. That's where the conversation usually ends. It needs to continue on to, okay, and what are you going to do with that income that you're going to have? Because you don't talk about that. You're going to make this income. You're going to be a doctor, right? But once you're hitting 100,000 or plus, what are you going to do with that money? You don't want to live paycheck to paycheck when you're making 100K plus. So it's about having that continued conversation, not just what are you going to do with when you grow up? What are you going to do with that once you're there? It has to continue on. So I'm coining that dough and debt thing because I kind of made that up.
Did you really? I was like, I've never heard it, but that's brilliant.
No, I came to me yesterday while we were talking. I'm like, hey, if you ever say that again, make sure you tag the source. I thought maybe there'd be some awkward silences in having this conversation with complete strangers from the other side of the country. So I was really surprised at how easily we all just got along and were able to find our similarities and use that to, continue to build on the conversation.
Another thing that came out of COVID-19 was that we were able to pay off all our credit card debt. So that was pretty cool, because now it's like a ghost, that follows you. You know that you owe somebody money. There was a lot of online shopping during the whole pandemic, but we were really good at basically just kind of stay grounded, because we kind of knew like, oh man, like if we're going to get some help from the government, let's utilize some of these funds
and let's use that fund to to get 100% out of debt.
Even though you might be assuming a little bit of money, just remember not to be frivolous with it, right? Because it could go away, and if you don't manage it well, then you're back to that, where you're struggling, and nobody wants to go back to that.
Yeah, that's something he enjoys doing, is shopping. So that's one of the things we're working on right now. Is he found like 5 different Facebook pages that focus on like Amazon deals, like $10 or less, and he's constantly on there shopping. So we recently worked with the advisor to create a budget, so he's not overspending and hopefully not spending, especially without talking with me first. But yeah, we were able to bring down our debt too. But we haven't been able to get rid of it because, like I said, with him being self-employed, obviously the assistance is limited. They don't give as much because they don't have a salary to like base it off of.
Have you guys been investing in the market?
Hi, I'm Megan, the family finance mom. And as a former hedge fund analyst, I get asked about investing in the stock market all the time. For many, investing in the stock market can feel risky. So let's talk about what it actually means to invest in the market and what the odds for your potential outcomes can be. The stock market is kind of like a financial grocery store, where all publicly traded companies are available for sale through securities known as stock. When you buy a single stock, you're actually buying a piece of ownership in a company. The media often talks about the stock market using major index funds like the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Dow. These index funds are simply baskets or groups of stock weighted by size, and they track the collective performance to give investors a sense of how the overall market is performing. Now, how can you participate and actually invest in the market? You may choose to open an investment account and buy individual stocks, or you may use the money you put into your investment account, be it a brokerage account, your retirement account like a 401k, or even your children's college savings plan, to buy into investment funds. These funds pool your money with other investors and are then used to buy stocks. Some of the funds seek to replicate the stock market indexes that we've already talked about, like the S&P 500, letting you buy a basket of 500 stocks, highly representative of the overall market, for just a few $100s.
I've done mutual funds for a long time. I've invested in mutual funds.
Oh, right.
For a very long time. And I, during COVID, got into cryptocurrency. So I started doing that. Been trying to convince him. I also have like a 401k as well as a IRA. So I try to do it however I can.
Always remember that time in the market matters more than timing the market. The longer you keep your money invested in the stock market, the less likely you are to lose money. When it comes to investing, what most people are afraid of is losing their money. And the media coverage of the stock market doesn't really help that fear. What I want you to walk away with is this mental picture instead. While the stock market moves up and down from day to day and even month to month, going back to 1927, even before the Great Depression, if you invested your money for 30 years, starting in any month over that entire time period, there was not a single 30-year period during which you would have lost money in the stock market. So, if you want to boost the return on your savings and keep pace with inflation, buy a piece of ownership in the largest stock market in the world and hold on to it for the long run.
I wanted to, I'm going to change it just a second. I wanted to know, being a realtor, what have you seen, or what would you recommend? Like, what is out there for first-time buyers?
From your experience, that as a first-time buyer, these programs do make it affordable for us to even be able to afford a mortgage, right? Do you have to put down that much amount of money to be able to get into a first-time home?
No, there's programs that actually will put down your down payment for you. So that,
and do we have to pay that back?
No, you don't.
Oh, really?
Really?
Is it?
You never pay it back.
It's not rolled into
It's not a loan. No,
it's not.
It's not a loan. What they do is they'll give you something like a grant that as long as you own and occupy this house for 5 years, you never have to pay it back.
Oh, wow. Who does that? What would I look it up under?
Look at the First Time Home Buyers Club or First Time Home Buyer Program. Check with your credit union, because your credit union may actually have them.
Right. Okay.
These programs, to be honest, they will last 3 months, and then a different one will come out at probably a different bank. They're always changing. It's not something that's always ongoing, but it's something that's always available.
Gotcha.
We do have some friends who are realtors who we thought we weren't ready.
Right.
We thought we were still needing to save for that down payment. But I feel like, Marco's such an optimist. He's so good at being like, this year we're going to get a house. And I'm like, I want to believe it too, but we need to have that money to get there. But, maybe with all the programs, maybe we don't really have to wait that long.
I think for me, it feels that we are ready. We've been ready.
They were just delightful and super helpful. And I wish that we had that kind of network or communication with other people who are further ahead of you or are doing what you're doing. They were like a burst of energy and light for us.
Right.
He's horrible at savings usually. It's like more my area, but he loves to shop. Like, you think it'd be me, but it's him. And so now we're gonna add him. He's gonna be on an allowance where he's only $30 per month.
Yeah, see, I don't believe in savings or any of that. Growing up, if anybody ever came to my parents or my dad and needed money, my dad went to the room to get the money. He didn't go to the bank. He went to the room.
Right.
That was us too.
Yeah, that was us too, man.
I'm trying to change the script a little bit for him and also for our kids. Like, what's another one of our homeworks? I don't know what homeworks you guys were assigned, but I had to open up Capital One accounts for my son. Already has one. I opened up now for my daughters so that they can start learning how to have a debit card, use a debit card, put their money in and manage money. Also getting your savings account. What else did you have?
My investment.
Yeah.
Retirement.
Yeah, so mostly his homeworks.
Yeah, I got tons of homework. I felt kind of targeted, like I was set up at some points of this, but couldn't find that I wasn't. I thought she got me.
I didn't at all. It's just that, that thing is that I've been doing these things independent of him for so long because he just won't listen to me, and that's the fact, right? Like, he said it himself. He feels like I'm nagging him to get these things done, but it's like I was, just trying to help him be accountable, hold him accountable. I do think that hearing another man say, I took some time to look into investing and the way that it's grown, like, I think that he needs to hear that, because, like, again, coming from another female, I don't think it would make the same impact as hearing another male who has similar selective hearing say, I took it upon myself to look into this and take these actions. So thank you for sharing that and that perspective.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I do want to point out an important thing, that I think the fact that the women were investing first, that's not always the case, right? It's like stockbrokers and all these guys who are, watching the market.
All the suits.
I worked in finance for several years, and I had great advice from some mentors and was able to take that advice. And I've had my IRA for about 15 years and started playing the market. And it took him a while. I'd always be like, this is what we have. Look at how much we've made. But he didn't really, he's good with numbers, but I think he just thought he wasn't and didn't jump into it. But I think it's super big point that women were the ones who were investing and the guys had been on the sidelines a little bit.
Women are smarter.
Right. Because I felt that we were so behind with investing in our kids' education, we haven't yet. But because I felt that we were so behind, that's why I decided to, do some research, open my own account, start investing, kind of more so to catch up for the years that we haven't invested anything in their education. So I thought, well, if anything, my account could become that. So I'm going to put, my energy on this and see how far it goes, and hopefully it comes out of this. And we will open another account for them. But for now, let's go with this, and I'll just keep funding it until it grows, and hopefully in 10, 15 years, it's enough for me to retire. But I was opening more so for them, so that I can at least start something for them, since we're so behind, with their college education investment. And I just don't want them to be in debt anyway. Who who wants to go to
Right.
college and then come up with a $100,000, college experience debt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying, because I thought the same thing, which is, I mean, I started my son's 529 a lot sooner than I did for my daughters. I started theirs around age 6 and 7 for both of them. I told them off the bat, I said, I'm not saving for your full tuition, because with inflation, I have no idea what that's going to be. So that was my way of encouraging them to find other ways of getting money.
Participation creates value. If they're participating in the funding for that college, they're going to care about it more than if it's just a free ride from mom and dad. So
Yeah.
that's a great
Absolutely.
point to remember.
Well, I tell you, you guys just made our Sunday. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Yeah, it's been really
No, thank you
informative.
guys.
that was so much fun.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God, I love Marco and Cheyenne. They were great.
Yeah, I just think it's funny that you and Cheyenne both had this investment information and didn't share it with me and Marco until like now. But
The fact that you guys both didn't hear it until now, I thought was really fun too.
yeah. So it's not just me.
No, it's not. And I always say it's a man thing, but I try not to be offensive.
It was super
It was.
great energy and knowledge that we got out of that. Just really nice people and so much. It's like you feel like you need that message from the universe. And it was like,
I think I call it reassurance.
It was just a really rich conversation.
Yeah.
And I was surprised you could have that kind of conversation with a stranger about finances.
It kind of relaxes you a little bit that you're also in the same journey with other people.
It was a good experience.
We were comparing SEP IRAs versus Roth IRAs versus traditional IRAs, and it was IRA Palooza.
This is the first time that I've ever sat down and actually wrote down all of my monthly drafts and everything that come out. I'm like, oh, that's where all my money goes.